Well, good evening, Track Gang and Sidetrack Sunday followers. Welcome aboard Sidetrack Sunday number 3 for the month of May 2022. It's May 15th of 2022. I'm your host, Ray Boble, and normally you would see Jason the Train Freak tonight. However, he's not here tonight, obviously, and I am. He's actually out on a scout thing, and well, you all are stuck with me tonight. Uh, so hopefully the audio is working. I'm hoping. John and I, well, actually, I've got a buddy of mine in the basement because I'm not running this solo tonight. Um, I've actually got a guest that's going to be helping me. So we'll get to that in a bit. But first off, let's see who all we have in the chat. Because obviously, as you can see, we're not running the schedule because, well, we've all been busy and it needs to be updated. So we'll get to it eventually. You know how that goes. Let's see. We've got Opa Dodge, the model train outsider in the house. We've got Artie from Oz America Model Railroading. We've got Dan's Model Railroading Journey. We've got David's Hobbies and Things. We've got Dwight Curley. We've got John Nilly, Mr. Grandpa Rails. Hot Rod Rodney's in the house. Mr. James Galton. Joe Rader in the Black Rock Central is here. We've got Lynn McCurdy and the HD MMRC. We've got Nathan DeLay. We've got New Fenris. We've got myself. Of course, I think I'm here. We'll figure that out later. We've got Mr. Ron Moen. We've got Mr. Roy Eltham. We've got John number 2 from the Schuylkill River Valley. And at the moment, we've also got Dave Sparky 107, and we've got Wig Wag Workshop. And I think as I was going through that, I think a few more people popped in here, and that would be Container Man 68, Mr. Roy, and Mr. Rick Bailey from the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad is here. So, Martin Sersma is also here. I'm sorry, I almost missed Martin. Anyway, good evening, everybody. I appreciate everybody coming in here. This show is going to be a little bit different, and I'm probably going to have to try and keep this between an hour to an hour and a half. It's been a long day. Today was our bowling end of season bowling party and award ceremony and things of that nature. And well, let's put it this way. I was part of the planning crew, and well, I had to make sure it went off without a hitch, and which it did. So it went very well. So, obviously, first hot topic, of course, is this coming weekend. Now that we're almost there, we've got the YouTube meet and greet happening up at Strasbourg. That's happening this coming weekend, Friday the 20th, the 21st, and Saturday the 21st, and then Sunday the 22nd. I am going to be driving up to Strasbourg Friday morning. I hope to make it there for the virtual Railfan thing on the platform in Strasbourg. I'm hoping to. I know I'm going to have to probably leave here, my house, probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock. But we'll see. I hope to make that. I do have a couple of the trains booked. So obviously, like I said, I will be up there this coming week. Hope that a lot of you were going to be there. I know that there's a few that can't due to prior commitments, which is completely understandable. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. Al Mar's in the house. I just happened to see him jump in, and Mr. John. I think we're just going to have to call you John number 25, John or John B. We'll go with that. And Split Rock is in the house. And Split Rock, I just saw that you left me a comment on the last video. Thank you, sir. I'll go back and hit you up there. Oh, man. Anywho, so hopefully everything is going well for everybody here. I tell you what, 2-year hiatus from being able to do, in-person meet and greets and things of that nature, but I'm really looking forward to that this week. I really, really am. So, um, anywho, while we're sitting here just shooting the breeze, let me go ahead and bring in my one of my cohorts in crime here. Hey, John number two from the Schuylkill River Valley. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, Roy, doing well, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I can't complain. I'm tired, man. It's been a long weekend.
Oh, I guess so.
When you're like I was telling you, that I was chatting earlier. I said, when you're part of the planning thing for something like that, I mean, I know how Sparky feels, and of course, I've done this before. But this, because of the fact that our former bowling alley closed down in September, and they used to do everything on site. I mean, at the end of the year, we had our party and everything else right there. It was great, and you pretty much knew what to expect. And
Right.
this year we didn't have that, so we had, because we're at a different bowling alley, and they don't have the space that the other one had. So we actually had to pick a venue, pick a caterer, and oh man, yeah, it was stressful.
As long as it all went well, Ray.
That this is true, it did, and I mean, everybody was complimenting as to how the food was and everything else. I was like, that was great. So yeah,
Perfect.
it worked well. It did go good. So anyway, we're going to make a somewhat, I think, futile attempt here. this this is going to be this is going to be a treat. So basically, one of the reasons why John number two is hanging out here with me this evening is I am going to attempt to start putting the Union Station back together. Um, because I finally got the interior painted. But one of the things I happened to notice was um, the front walkway where the columns sit. That needs to be painted concrete gray, and I hadn't had the chance this weekend to mess with that. So I'm going to have to try and put these walls together without something to square them up against, because I can't paint that part. And yeah, with it on there. So that's going to be, it's going to be a little tricky, but we'll see what we come up with. So yeah, fun stuff.
Hey, it's a live show. It's got to be interesting, right?
Well, yeah, I figure it this way: it can't go any worse than some of Heath's unboxings.
That's for sure.
Sorry, Heath. I'm not even sure if he popped in here or not.
I
Anyway,
haven't seen him.
okay, well that's good. That means the stream's still going.
Right.
Oh boy, let's see. What are they all chatting about in here? Uh, Something about a, oh, okay, the tree huggers. Well, you know what? Okay, and they're picking on Rick.
Rick's
Oh,
just trying to get people to hug him.
well, okay.
Hey, there's Ethan Armitage and Dad Armitage. Welcome, fellas.
Oh, good evening, folks. I just realized that I had my the chair was on top of the cord. I had to extend the cord to be able to get ready to do what I'm getting ready to do here. All right. So let me transition over to this, and then let me go back over here to StreamYard a second. Here we go. Yeah, the parts are all laid across the table. Let's see here. Um, is that going to work? Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think that'll work. All right. All right, let me scoot back here. Oop. Look at that. Didn't even have to get out of the chair. There's only one problem now. The computer is over there, and I'm over here. This is the reason why John is paying attention, and because I'm not going to be able to. Of course, I don't have enough money to pay attention. Yeah, but that's beside the point. All right, let's see what we've got going on here. Anyway, this here was the piece that I was talking about. If you see these here are the bases for the columns that go on the front of Union Station. Well, this area here needs to be painted that concrete gray that I've got, and I haven't gotten to that yet. And I don't want to mess with that on the stream, so we're just going to leave the base alone for the moment. And
Ethan, I don't think it would work having you on tonight. Ray's got something special planned, and
I'm just special as it
is. And I'm only here to watch chat. So Ray isn't really set up to have guests tonight.
No. Yeah, this is a different. If you're wondering what I'm doing, the other night I went through. Oh geez, almost knocked my drink over. That would have been a party foul.
Oh, there's Tim from CP368.
Good evening, Tim. The other night I actually went through because this kit had obviously been put together once before, and what I did is I went through and tried to clean off some of the old glue that was on here, so that I'd have a better surface for gluing this back together. So, fun stuff. I think what might be prudent here would be to try and put this piece back together first. And what this is the front. I'm hoping, yeah, we're good. This is the front of the building. This is that alcove that sits behind where the columns sit. These guys here. And like I said, I don't want to mess with that base right now because of the fact that I need to go back and paint it, because like I said, I didn't get a chance to do that. This week was another week from where, because of the fact that I had 2 overnights that I had to work. That was fun. Thankfully, both of those went well, but that was not a part of the original plan for me to work 2 of them.
Thomas Splitrock wants to know, how many railroads does Union Station serve?
That depended on, that's a great question. It depended on the city. A lot of the big stations in the major cities, we'll take Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Chicago. What they would do is, because there was multiple rail lines that came into those cities, the cities actually owned the station and maintained the station, but the railroads serviced it. So you could, in theory, Penn Station, which is actually down here in Baltimore, I thought it was always called Union Station. They call it Penn Station because that's who originally put the building in. But that one was also a Union Station that serviced the Baltimore and Ohio, the Pennsylvania, the Seaboard, the Southern, and the Atlantic Coast, where the railroads. There was actually a picture. In fact, it's up on the wall over here. There was actually 6 railroads that had not trackage rights, but had rights into Union Station or Penn Station here in Baltimore. So yeah, it just really depended on the city and depended on the layout as to how many railroads actually came into that station. But that's the reason, that was a good call. That's the reason why they called them Union Station. That was a unified station that serviced multiple railroads. Hopefully that answered the question.
I'd say it did. Adam Cruz dropped in. So did Mike, Rail Artist. And nice. I saw somebody else.
Nice.
And now I missed you. I forgot who you were. Sorry. It scrolled past me.
Right. Welcome in to those that just joined. This will probably be the easiest piece that I glue all night.
Artie says they make things simple over there. They just call them railway stations, and even the GPS and Google Maps finds them much easier too.
Well, And that's the problem that I've been having, is this thing has been getting, there we go. Unfortunately, the tip to this thing got messed up a while back.
Is it the metal tip?
Well, no, this one here was a plastic tip. The one that I have that's got the metal tip disappeared.
Oh.
I don't know how that happened. So I've got this one here, and I had to cut the tip down because it got clogged. It's not good when you know. I'm not going to go there. I know what that's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Jeff, the railroad enthusiast. Good to see you.
Oh, good evening. Here it is. I was saying that this will probably be the easiest part that I glue all night, and it's already not being very nice here.
Oh, that's what you get for saying that.
Yeah, you know, we can't make everything easy, John.
True.
If it were easy, everybody would want to do it. And I probably should have done it this way to start off with.
And there's Ian from Lehigh River Subdivision. Good to see you, Ian.
Good evening, Ian, and everybody else that's popped in.
Jeff, he's rebuilding his Union Station.
Yeah, this is the front wall to Union Station. What it is there's these neat little columns that will sit in front here. The base of it is actually still sitting back here because I want to paint around the bases of the columns. That's how they would sit, and of course in the front wall and so on and so forth. But what I did, well, let me back up a second. What happened is I started messing with this thing a while back because I thought I was going to have to modify it. And I actually took the sidewalls off of it and was looking at the possibility of making it shorter and actually making it deeper, narrowing it, but making it deeper. And in the process, I realized that I didn't have to modify the kit at all, that it would work out better if I just left it whole and just turned it sideways a little bit on the layout back on the corner back where it's going to sit. And because of that, I decided, well, I guess I need to put it back together. Well, when I started going in and looking, I realized, I remembered that this thing had some very serious light bleed. Well, what's light bleed? When you light these kits, this one here in particular, the walls were so thin that the lighting that you put in was actually shining through it. So to combat that, I went back, and of course in the last couple of vlogs I've gone through and I've actually painted the interior flat black. So that way I don't have that light bleed anymore. Now, if you look at this back wall, you'll notice that there is some gray at the very top. Well, that's because that's above the roof. This piece here is actually above the roof line. The roof line is actually here. So once I get this thing semi back together, you'll be able to see that, provided I can get it back together.
Hey, Jason, good to see you.
Oh, the train freak is here, eh?
Yep.
He came in out of the rain? I'm guessing they had rain. I have no idea. I know he was out camping with the scouts this weekend, which worked out good for him. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing tonight, and he's not, because he was out with the scouts. And what's going to happen is he's taking next week for me because I'm going to be coming back from Strasbourg. And I have
Steve,
no. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
Steven
go ahead.
wanted to know if that's a Walthers kit.
It is the Walthers kit. I've actually had this, and I had it together once already, obviously. That's not the wall for that side. That's the wall for that side. This is a Walthers kit. I actually had this together once before, and I got the kit. I want to say it was back, probably 2005, maybe. And I actually had it together then. And like I said here recently, I had taken it apart because I thought I was going to have to do some major modification. And well, I didn't need to go that route. So now I'm just trying to get it to a point where I can get it back together again. And I know when I took this particular wall off, and the reason why I said the other one wasn't the one for this corner, there was actually a spot where the glue actually really got stuck and it actually pulled part of the wall off. So I'm going to have to get some thin plastrux or something like that to probably put on the interior of this to match the corner back up again, because I can see that this is not going to match up very well at all. But that's okay. I can work with it temporarily and then come back and fix that. So
Roy Container Man said that section of the wall above the roof line is called a parapet wall.
Thank you, Roy. I wasn't sure what they called that. It certainly doesn't look like a bird. Oh, you said parapet. I thought you said parakeet. Sorry. Still got to joke around, even though I can't see a darn thing as to what's going on.
That might be a good thing, right?
I'm sure that the peanut gallery over there is just having a ball right now.
Split Rock wants to know what he says. What is your favorite adhesive for plastic structures? Mine is plastic weld from Plastruct.
What I've been using for years, and I know I'm not going to be able to get a hold of it anymore once this runs out, has been the Model Masters or the Testors glues. I have used them for years. I don't have an issue using them normally. It's something I've used. Like I said, it's just something I've been very comfortable with. Even though this particular bottle has had all sorts of problems, and it's.
Hey, Manny Fernandez, good to see you.
Hey, Manny.
Roy suggests that you sand both wall edges at a 45-degree angle and they'll line up better.
Well, that was what I did the other night, Roy. I actually went through and took my X-Acto knife and actually cleaned up the edge to go ahead and get things kind of lined, to get things to line back up again. Knowing that I had a lot of glue sitting there. One of the things I do like about this Model Masters, this here stuff dries rather quickly. I mean, at least it gets a good tack rather quickly. And then, yeah, I know most people would be like, I wouldn't be holding it with my fingers. Well, you know, if this was a brand new kit, I would probably sit there and use the clamping stuff that I've got sitting off to the side over here. But because of the fact that it was put together once before, I've noticed that probably holding it this way is going to work a little bit better, because I can kind of finagle it a little bit. Yeah, there's the big word of the day.
Artie wants to know if you're going to do an interior with ticket counters, bench seats, and secret love affairs in the corner.
You know, Artie, that's a good question. And actually, one of the things that I'm probably going to end up doing here after I get done with Strasbourg is I'm going to go back down to Penn Station down here in Baltimore, and I'm actually going to try to see if they'll let me take some pictures of the interior down there. I did find some pictures on Google, but they're kind of, I don't know. It's a little tough to really get an idea as to where you're looking. And not to mention the fact that was Penn Station and this is Union Station, so it is a little different. But yes, I am planning on putting an interior in. And one of the things, if you've watched for a while, because of the fact that the tracks for this are actually underneath of where the Union Station is going to sit, I'm actually going to put staircases and elevators or escalators and or both, whatever, all three. going from the floor of this through the scenery and actually underneath, and I'm going to have the underside where the tracks are lit.
Cool.
That's going to be. It's not going to happen overnight. Let me tell you. There's going to be quite a bit of thought and everything else that's going to have to go into how to get that done. And it's one of the things I was talking to my buddy, funny as it is, Big John, about the fact that I've gone ahead and put all this stuff together. And after I put the second deck on, I realized, hey, dude, you forgot you got to put lighting in underneath of here yet. And I'm like, daggone it. So I've got to go back and do some experimentation and figure out how I'm going to get the lighting circuits done for the stuff that's on top for downtown Beauville, and then get the lighting done for that track area that's under the city. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be unique. So stick around. Who knows what that's going to end up looking like? Let's see if I can move this without it falling apart on me.
Bob from PK&W Model Works stopped in, and
hey,
so
Bob.
did Dave from Crooked River and Eastern. Good to see you guys.
Hey, Dave.
Thomas wants to know, how many different passenger trains do you have now? Different railroads or named trains?
Right now, I've got 3 Pennsylvania trains, 2 of which are the Fultz Bailey Express, because they basically have cars that Rick Bailey had given me. I've got a Seaboard that's got 4 cars. I've got a Wabash, which would be probably, I don't know if that would be the Wabash Cannonball. I don't think it came this far east, but hey, it's my railroad. I've got a Baltimore and Ohio. Actually, I've got 2 Baltimore and Ohios. One of them is a Streamliner, and the other one is actually, I think they're both Streamliners. One of them's shorter. One of them's got shorter cars than the other one, so that's different. They're different ages. I've also got the 2 that get used for what I call the Beauville and Newtown. One of them is the one that actually runs behind the PA1. Those are Baltimore and Ohio heavyweights. And then I've got the other one that goes behind the Chessie System locomotive for the moment. That's actually former Santa Fe cars. They'll be relettered for the B&N at some point. I've also got the Southern Crescent Limited, and I've also got the Rio Grande passenger train that is now being pulled by the Kraus Mafia ML 4000. So yeah, I've got. I mean, I wouldn't say they're named trains, but the way that the railroad works, you've got a north and southbound passenger train every other cycle of the schedule. So in a 24-hour schedule, you've got 12 passenger trains, and they're either going, you'll see them going in one direction for the first half of it, and then they're going in the opposite direction the second half of the schedule. So they actually get turned around. And of course, that's all done by Five Finger Mike in the background. Eventually, I'll name I think eventually I'll name the trains. I don't know how long that's going to take yet, but I will get there eventually.
Joe Rader suggests gluing some Legos in the corners for support.
Well, you know, Joe, it's rather interesting. When this thing was together before, until I started really messing with it, it was a fairly stable kit. I was really surprised. You know, once it's glued to the base and you have the roof and all on there, it was fairly stable. Right now, it's not, because it doesn't have all of it. Obviously, doesn't have all of its pieces and parts. It's getting better, though. I can see. And just as I was suspecting, I am going to have to, which I knew, because this thing has been apart once, I'm going to have to get some thin plastic to go down the inside of this, just to help hide the corners, to keep the light bleed from coming through.
And they'll have a lot of support too.
That'll help. Yes, that'll help with support as well. Very true, John. There's no question that'll help. I mean, I could probably go with some thicker. I was thinking the thin stuff, but what Joe just brought up and what you just said just made more sense. If I got square, I don't know, couple centimeter, you could glue that in the corner, and it would not only would it hide the fact that that the corner isn't perfectly straight, but it would also help with the structure and be able to help with the light bleed.
Sure.
So it's a multiple thing. Oh, this stupid bottle.
There's Scott from Hillbilly Railroad just popped in.
Hey, Scott. Fun stuff. Of course, now I'm sniffing glue fumes.
We'll never be able to tell the difference, Ray.
Thanks, John.
There's Chasko. Hey, Chasko.
Hey, Chasko. Everybody's a critic, I tell you.
Nathan wants to know if you would rather put Krusty the Krab on the layout or Dracula.
Well, considering the fact that years ago, when my daughter was younger and was really into the railroad, I actually do have a model of Percy and a model of Emily, which are two of the Thomason trains. I would not be putting SpongeBob SquarePants on the layout. I would probably lean more towards Dracula. Come to bite your dick, yeah.
Rick suggests using caulk or model putty to fill the gaps.
There's another possibility. There's another possibility. See, that's the reason why you do these things live. Everybody's got these wonderful ideas that I'll forget by the end of the show.
Right.
Especially after sniffing these glue fumes.
And Jeff asked how my river is coming along. The N-scale river is basically finished, and the river on my diorama is also pretty much finished. Just a little bit of detail left, but I'm saving that for my sidetrack Sundays.
Hey, girl. Hey, what, you wanted to be on TV too? Huh?
Hey, there's Tom's Trains and Things. Good evening, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this coming weekend. I mean, I mentioned it kind of before I got started working on this thing. I know that there is a bunch of us that are going to this place called Strasbourg this coming week. So, something we haven't been able to do for a couple years is get together as a group, and I'm really looking forward to this. I know that there's quite a few that can't make it, and that's a shame, and I understand, and it's a part of the times. And
it's tough. We're kind of spread out all over the country.
Yeah,
and this is actually the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely not easy when you're a diverse group like we are, where we're, like you said, we're worldwide, which is, and I think I've mentioned this on a couple of the different live streams that I've done where I've been asked questions in the past. If anybody would have told me back in 2014 when I started doing this that I'd be doing this on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, number one, and I would be sitting here talking to folks that are over in England and Australia and, goodness knows wherever else, I would have told them they were nuts. I would have never thought about doing this. Live streaming? What
Scott,
the heck is that?
This is the Union Station from Walthers kit that Ray is rebuilding. And Randall Elson stopped in, and there is Heath. Good evening, Heath.
Oh boy. Now the stream's going to go downhill.
Yeah, but we got somebody to blame now.
And, well, if it falls apart, we got somebody to blame. Well, isn't that amazing? The daggone thing actually lined up.
All right.
Unbelievable. Yeah, the rookie strikes again, right? Oh man, no. In all seriousness, this is this thing going to clog on me again? Yeah, this thing is giving me fits. There it goes. Yeah,
And
it's time for some new glue.
Bob from PKNW has just said so. Schuylkill River Valley is not the only one brave enough to build on a live stream. Way to go, Ray.
Well, the thing of it is, Bob, is considering the fact that this is the second time I've built this kit. Of course, this time around, I'm doing it without instructions, which makes it even more interesting.
And Rick just asked if I was going to be able to make it to Strasbourg, and no, Rick, unfortunately, I won't. My granddaughter got some leave from the Navy that weekend instead of Memorial Day, so I'll be spending it with her.
Nice. Well, when you see her, John, thank her for her service for us, would you?
I certainly will.
Another squid. Nice. Hey, I can say that because I was one, so.
That's right.
This one here, I am going to try to clamp a little bit because obviously I just did both corners. I probably should have done one and then the other, but I wasn't thinking. Of course, it costs money to do that too.
Roy says squid is delicious.
Oh boy.
And Mike Rail Artist is another squid.
Yeah, there we go. Got the Navy is well represented tonight, apparently. I know we've got a couple of former Air Force folks in here too.
Well, my granddaughter's. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
My granddaughter's older brother was in the Marines.
Well, you know what they say, John. The Army calls them choppers. The Navy calls them helos. The Marines call them
Well, my father was in the Navy, and he had nothing good to say about the Marines either.
No, I tell you what, I really respect the Marine. It's funny. We can sit here and we can pick on the services can pick on each other all they want. It's when somebody from the outside starts picking on, it doesn't really end well. Trust me, I was in Charleston, South Carolina one night at a bar, and there was Marines there, the Army was there, there was a couple of Air Force folks there, and of course we're all picking on each other. Then some dude comes in, he's already half blitzed, and he starts picking on one of the Marines. Oh no. No. By the time the cops got there, he was outside in the ball.
I'm sure he was.
And they kind of picked him up and took him back to his bed, took him home. Never saw that dude again. I don't know whatever happened to him.
Well, he probably didn't hang around military bars anymore.
That was probably smart.
Yeah, right. And Rail Artist says he was U.S. Navy and Marines and proud of being with both.
There you go. A Rail Artist, if you don't mind me asking, when were you in? I'll be darned. Even the blind squirrel finds a nut. Hey, you all found me. All right. Well, I'm not going to tempt fate here and move that thing too much. How much time we got? All right. Well, maybe we can get one of these sidewalls put back together.
Oh, the South Down switching layout. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in.
Hey, South Down. Let's see. Does this one here actually match up with the other? Maybe.
Mike the Rail Artist was in the Vietnam era. Hospital Corpsman, Navy and Marines.
Oh, my grandfather was a hospital corpsman in the army towards the middle of the end of World War II and then the beginning of Korea. So yeah, he didn't talk much about it, but I can only imagine. I I had my dealings with the hospital corpsman, and not because of the fact that I wanted to. I when I was over. Well, I was in during the Gulf War, um, 88 to 92, and I actually uh, while we were over in Bahrain, I was there was a security alert, and I actually was trying to find cover, and in the process, actually my left knee found the deck the hard
Oh,
way.
how?
Um, and yeah, they ended up putting 98 stitches in it, so it was not fun. Not
90, that's a few stitches, right?
Yeah, 98 stitches inside and out. The ones inside went ahead and disintegrated. The ones on the outside, well, they had to pull those back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was funny too, because the hospital corpsman that was aboard ship was like, I can take the stitches out, I just can't put them in. It's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And then later on, when I realized what he was saying, what it was is because of the fact that you had the way it had to be put, the way it had to be put back together, he couldn't have done it. There
Right.
was somebody that needed more experience than what he had.
Okay.
So,
Well,
like I
let's
said,
see.
go ahead.
Joe Rader was Air Force 68 to 72, and his dad was a paratrooper in World War II. And Rodney's dad was Coast Guard, I think he said. Yep, he
Puddle
was Coast
jumper.
Guard. Yeah.
That's what we used to call. Well, that's what we call the Coast Guard. We call them puddle jumpers.
I had a great aunt who was Army nurse during World War II, and she was attached to the 101st Airborne.
Oh, I can only imagine.
She didn't talk very much about her experiences.
I can't. Like I said, I can't imagine. I mean, when my parents were alive, our next door neighbor was in Vietnam, and he refused to talk.
Yeah,
My
and
brother's father-in-law was in Vietnam, and he didn't like to talk about it either.
yeah.
And I
Tom's Trains and Things was Air Force 71 to 75. And Ian's brother-in-law is on his 15th year in the Navy.
nice.
JD's dad, brother, and himself were in the Air Force.
Yeah, I knew JD had been in. And I knew Joe had been in. Yeah, my dad, to talk about families and being, and I know that I know Opa Dodge, if he's still in here, I know his family's got a rather interesting. He's got family history all the way back to almost, I think, going back to the Revolutionary War, for goodness sakes. But
Oh,
you
Anthony's
know,
not that old.
no, Anthony's not, but his. Hey, that was a good one. There we go. Um, Here it is. My mom's dad was in the army. My dad was in the Navy, and then of course I was in the Navy. My dad was what they called back then was a radarman. Nowadays they call them operations specialists or OSs. And like I said, my mom's dad was a hospital corpsman. So yeah, I mean you know, I understand. Some folks just it wasn't in their. Uh, I don't look at it this way as everybody asks me if I had to do it again, would you? And I'm like, absolutely, without a doubt. Um, One of the things that I tell people, it's not that I was the punk kid on the corner, But as an 18-year-old, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Number one. Number two, my grades. Yeah, I could have gotten into a college. They definitely would have taken my money, but I probably wouldn't have lasted long. At least at that point in time. But it was just to me. It just made sense, and it's not for everybody. I get it. I mean, it's not an easy, especially the first couple of weeks, even. Being away from the first time being away from home and the whole 9 yards. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not for everybody. But for those that do make it through it, absolutely. And for those that haven't, everybody's got their own path in life, and that's your choice. So it's all
J-
good one way or the other.
JD had two great grandfathers in the Civil War. And Anthony Dodge's relatives arrived in Massachusetts in the 1640s and in Virginia in the 1730s.
See, I told you, John. I knew that. I knew his family tree went way back.
Yeah, it sure does.
Way back. Because he mentioned that on one of his other live streams. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Seriously?
Yeah, that's quite some history.
I mean, that's just insane. It's insane that he actually. It's insane that he actually knows all of that. I mean, because here it is. My family, my grandparents, I shouldn't say my grandparents, my great grandparents, came over from Germany in the late 1800s. My grandfather was a firstborn American, and it's just that's as far back as I go. I know I still have relatives over in Germany. They were all up in northern Germany, the Bremerhaven, Hamburg, Nuremberg area. One of these days, I would like to get over there and see if I can find some of them, because unfortunately, when my great grandparents passed away, they lost communication with everybody over there. They all survived the war, but they just lost communication with them because obviously they still spoke German, and nobody over here did. So it was kind of one of those things, we just lost touch. Would I want to go over there and reunite with somebody from I would love to, but I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. So
Right.
Eventually, yeah, that'll happen. I mean, I've been to Germany once, because my wife's side of the family is actually her grandfather was Lithuanian. And he actually, talk about being a part of the war. He was actually on the other side in World War II, but he was a Panzer tank mechanic. He didn't see the front lines, but he worked behind the line.
Right.
And I do remember him saying one thing, and he was relieved when the Allies finally got to where he was, because by that point, the German, it was just a shambles. I mean, there was no supply lines left. There was nothing coming in. He said by the time they got to us, we were starving. And he said the first thing that they did is they sat there and started pulling out rations, and they started feeding us. So,
wow.
I mean, that was one of those things that was just really unique to hear, because you kind of hear about that but you never hear anything like that firsthand.
Sure.
And that to me was really, really cool. He was like, yeah, he said, I really appreciated those guys when they showed up.
Well, I had an uncle who went back to Slovakia to the hometown of grandparents, and to find roots and that sort. And when he got there, everybody was thrilled to see the American coming over to find his roots, until he mentioned his last name, and then they ran him out of town.
No. So, something tells me that they didn't want him there.
Yeah, something tells me his ancestors left for a reason. They probably had help.
Well, like I said, I mean, as far as I know, my family left on good terms. It was just the fact that, they wanted out. I mean, they wanted out before things, and like I said, that was before World War One. Oh, this stupid glue.
Well, Anthony Dodge says they traced his family back, father to son, until 1280, when they were knighted by King Edward I while fighting in Scotland.
Oh, jeez. Now I understand why you're taking the trip to England there, Opa Dodge. I mean, that makes perfect sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. Now, the funny thing of it is like I was saying a little bit ago, my dad's side was basically German. My mother's side, on the other hand, she always called us Heinz 57 varieties. Let's put it this way: we've got traces on my mom's side back to Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh wow!
Somewhere along the way, there was a split in the Newtons, and part of them came over in I guess it was the 15 or 1600s, and settled here, while the other part of the Newtons stayed over in England. But yeah, that we've got. They told us for years that we didn't have it, and then when we started looking at the heraldry, and they realized, well, wait a minute. If they came over then, they're a part of this, and yes, they were. There was a relation to Sir Isaac, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Wow. So for the first 18 years of my life, I was, oh yeah, we're not related to him. And well, apparently we are.
Well, Bob from PK&W says that even Isaac Newton couldn't get those corners any truer than you are.
He isn't looking at what I'm looking at. or maybe it's just the glue fumes.
And there's Happy Valley Hobbies. I forgot to mention Edward's in.
Hey, Edward. One of these days, and I keep saying this, I'm going to go ahead and come up with a cheat sheet for all the names of the people that are in the chat, because anybody that doesn't have their name in their channel, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's just such and such. It was funny because one of them commented on one of the videos not that long ago, and I called them the wrong person. I feel like a freaking idiot.
Well, then you have easy guys like John 2618 who just dropped in.
Steve 87 PSAP,
right.
You got the easy ones there, but you get what is it? Tim's the CP 368, right?
Right.
Okay, and then I know that there's another. What is it? The other one is CDP Productions, and that's Chris.
No, CDP 1965 is Chuck.
Chuck, see, I told you.
and like Tim just said, like calling me Chuck for 18 months or so.
You can call me wherever you want, just don't call me late for dinner.
and John 2618 said his name isn't John.
Alrighty then. Oh, geez. Bunch of comedians.
Stephen from Wigwag Workshop says on one of the other live streams, the host always calls him Wigwam.
Oh.
Dan's Model Railroading Journey says he's been called everything in the book. He would never complain that somebody got his name wrong, and he might even go with it if that person is a better modeler than he is.
Well, I can tell you right now that there's probably a lot of people out there that are better at this than I am.
Well, it's still standing, right?
Well, it's amazing how much you can fake on TV.
Hey, there's Rick's R&L Railroad. Good to see you, Rick.
Oh man, gotta have fun, right? If you weren't having fun, oh.
And John Benicki says he has his name on there and they still can't pronounce it.
Well, you know what? You know what's funny here? It is I've got 6 letters in my last name, and I've heard it said a lot of different ways, and seen it spelled a lot of different ways. It's just so funny. What's even funnier is when you actually get somebody like Opa Dodge, for instance, that knows German, and when they see the name, actually pronounces it in the old Germanic, which is really funny. It's like, okay. My dad actually answered the phone. This was a while back. Of course, he's been gone for a while now. But my dad actually answered the phone one night, and he gets off the phone and he starts laughing. And I was like, "What's so funny?" He says, "That's the first time I think in a long time I've actually heard somebody pronounce our name in the Germanic, which is Babel." He says, "That's not normally what you hear when you pick up the phone."
Well, it doesn't look like Babel.
No, that's the thing. When my great grandfather came over, they took the AE. Well, the A was an AE with the umlauts. The A had the 2 little dots over top of it.
Right.
And obviously, when he came over, they Americanized it. And they got rid of the A with the umlauts and made it OE.
Okay.
So it became Bobel instead of Babel, which I always thought was somewhat fascinating. It's like, okay, how did you get that from that? But okay, whatever. All right. Unbelievable. Of course, I'll come down here tomorrow morning. It'll be all over the floor. The only thing I'm doing with these is because these have only got 3 sides, I'm using the base just to kind of line it back up, which it's doing very well. Like I said, since these side pieces that go on the outer edge, look at that. When you put the base on, this is going to. Boy, I'm really tempting fate here.
There's Southern Yankees trains. Good to see you.
Southern Yankee is in the house. Let's see here. Yep. Yep. Yeah, see now that just lines back up just like that.
Oh yeah, Joe. Ellis Island changed the spelling of a lot of people's names.
Oh yeah, it's. I still think one of the more unique things is the fact that my great grandparents came over on a ship. Obviously, back in those days they didn't have planes. Came over on a ship in the late 1800s. And the ship that they crossed the Atlantic on, I believe, doing a little bit of, or hearing a few things that I've heard, they came over with, obviously, other German families, namely the Belsners and the Schellers and the Schreibers. And what's funny is, the reason why I bring that up is my father's mother was a Belsner, and her sister married a Schreiber. So it was like, yeah, we'll just all keep it right here in the family, it's ran over the cord with the chair again. What the heck? Oh, there we go. I'm getting wrapped up in my work over here. All right. Well, I'm pleased with that progress for the night.
Well, Thomas just said you're making a lot of progress, and you should do a live stream every night.
Well, yeah, that's not going to be possible this week, unfortunately.
I
Um,
can time him out if you want me to.
yeah. Who, me or him?
Him.
Oh, no. No, unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and transition this thing back to the main cam. Transition.
Jeff, no, I did not hear about number 5550 in Harrisburg. That's cool.
Nice. I did see something the other day. Somebody had posted a picture of the boiler on a flatbed somewhere. So that's going to be pretty cool when they get that done. That's a unique locomotive. That's one that I wouldn't mind having in the collection. Now, I know that we had talked about that once before a long time ago. After I got Blackjack, which I still can't believe I got Blackjack sitting back here. It's over a year later, and it's still sitting. In fact, it was running the other night. I'm going to go ahead and get this back to normal here, John. Sorry, I'm sitting here talking and forgot to change the screen.
Oh, no problem.
That Pennsylvania T1 would be a neat locomotive to have. That was just a unique front end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good night, James. Split rock. The STS first hose gets timed out. Oh man,
it probably should have happened several times by now, Thomas.
Who with us never happened.
Hey, Rusty, good to see you.
Hey, Rusty. And that's Possum Bayou. See, I'm starting to get. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this right. But yeah, it was just unique that they all came over together, and then they ended up getting, the sibling or the offspring end up getting married. It's like, wait a minute. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say something about West Virginia, but we have several West Virginians.
Not in that way. No, well, I mean, it's well, when you think about it, when they came over, I mean, you had Little Italy, you had
Right.
Germantown, you had Chinatown, you had all these, because that's where they all went. They all hung together, so it only made sense. When you think about it in that respect, it's like, well, yeah, it makes sense because they probably all lived like down the street or across the street or around the block, whatever, from each other. So they all went to the same schools and things of that nature. So it makes perfect sense. John Dilly, careful, John. CP368, that's Alabama. I'm glad Gino isn't in here. It's good to see him post. I know he hasn't posted up videos in a long time. I don't know if anybody in here remembers Gino Sharp. But he started posting stuff back up on Facebook this past week. So that was really cool to see because I hadn't seen anything from him in a long time.
No, I don't remember him.
You don't remember Gino? Gino was on he would be on with Derek Glass and Big Bill and who was Big Bill's partner in crime in the beginning? I can't remember that. I know he was a part of the Strasbourg Model Railroad Club. Yeah, Container Man Gino Sharp. He just started posting up stuff on his railroad again. I mean, that he has got some unbelievable modeling. He does a hell of a job. Short line 614. Welcome in. There's somebody else I haven't seen in a while. Yeah, I haven't seen anything from. Well, it was Modeler Man Mike, but then there was somebody after him, JD. I can't think of his name because now I think he's married for like the third time, and he's gone from modeling S gauge to doing camera stuff. He's gone over to taking photos. He's, I guess, for lack of a better term, I think he's pretty much become a professional photographer. and I cannot sit here and think of his name. It's blowing me away that I cannot think. Barry, thank you, model railer. Hey, now there's a name we haven't seen in a while.
Hey, Johnny,
What's
good to see you.
what's going on, John? leave it to John to bail me out.
Pops in at the right time.
Roy, you haven't seen your feet. Thanks, Roy. Oh man. So anyway, yeah. I mean, this was a neat little project, I guess. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to train. It's interesting with that. That's the Lenovo web camera. And one of the things that's, I don't know why the building is showing up blue, but it's actually gray. And I don't know why that is. I think even if I turn off the ring light, oh, that was going to help. Now it shows up gray.
Yeah.
I guess it was just too much light on it. Huh. Okay, so I'll note to self in the future, I don't need to have the ring light on for that one. Okay, that'll work. Seems a little dark over there now, but whatever. Maybe it's just my eyes. Yeah, human, another John. Nice, Jeff. Nice. Nice. I was starting to like the blue look. Yeah, that's not the color it's going to be. I still want to get that over to an off white of some sort. I think that'll look a lot better than the gray did, and I actually got something else in the mail. Earlier it was earlier it was Emma in the shot. Now it's Beethoven. We've had storms in the area, so he's looking for some place to hide. You know, model railer, some days I feel like that's actually happening, yes. What you doing, bug? What you doing, bud? He's like, I'm just looking for a place to hide. Oh, man. I'm glad that there's only one Heath, though, because one's enough. Oh, man. If I didn't pick on Heath, nobody else would. Well, I take that back.
No, we all would.
Try pearl white. I find it the nice. Oh, okay. I'll have to look into that, Artie. I will have to look into that because, like I said, I mean, I was thinking of doing. When I looked at some pictures the other day on Google of the Union stations, and trying to see if I could figure out what that coloration on the outside was. And it seems like most of them are some sort of a concrete grade to that marble white color. So that's kind of what I was going to start looking into, was something in that area. But the pearl white's a neat idea. That is a neat idea. There was something up here from Lynn. What was that? Jason Jensen, like the look of buttermilk white. Something to think about. Okay. See, that's the reason why we do these things, because it's neat to get the perspectives as you're doing it. Of course, people are talking about the fact that Heath is a candy bar. Oh boy. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm really gonna. Of course, Roy was saying that Heath is also a trucking company. As long as it's not Swift. Split rock at the moment, no. My layout does not have a fascia. I do have. Let me go ahead and transition this thing back. If you look, there's as the chair hits the Yeah, we could do it that way. Here we go. There is a plaid skirt that's actually underneath. That actually came from the old 13-foot by 11-foot layout. I actually it covers better part of the area over here. But once I get over to the bridge area, which is on the other side of this, I'm going to try and put not only fascia, but I'm actually thinking of putting some sort of I've actually got some pieces of knotty pine left up in the loft in the garage that they had from when they built a couple of things down here, and I'm actually thinking about maybe trying to use that across the front, because I don't want a curtain or a skirt or anything like that across there. I want that to look a little bit nicer because that's the first thing you see when you come down the steps. I know Rick Bailey has been over here. John, his buddy, John Foltz has been over here. Anthony, the from the Georgia Sunbelt has been over here too, and that is. I'll never forget the first time that Anthony came over here. It was actually kind of funny. He gets all the way down to the bottom of those steps over here, and he sits on the steps, and I'm like, "Is everything all right, Anthony?" He's like, "I'm just taking it all in." He says, "This thing's a heck of a lot bigger in person than what it is on the camera." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's it's 34 feet down the back side here, and then once you get over on the other side of the staircase, it comes out 8 feet, and then comes back in this direction." But yeah, it's I've created Frankenstein's monster. Let's put it that way. I definitely created Frankenstein's monster. That the skirt's only there to hide the mess under the layout. This is exactly right, and that's the reason why that skirt's there. It's to hide the empty the totes that have all the empty boxes and the stuff that I'm not using yet. That's what it's there. That's what it's there to do. It's hiding all the garbage that I don't want anybody to see. It actually does a halfway decent job of that. Of course, some folks have asked me. One of the reasons, and that's actually a couple different tones of brown and gray. The reason why I bought that particular piece, it was the last piece that they had. But the old house, if you go back and look to anything prior to 2019, that was nothing but knotty pine in that basement. And that skirt worked pretty well, to just kind of hiding stuff and then fitting into that basement. But yeah, you know what, Lynn, that's a modular layout. I can't imagine trying to tear that thing down and set it up every so often. This thing is bad enough just putting it up once. No, Heath. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, here we go, trying to derail things, are we? You're absolutely right, real artist. Hiding it is one thing, finding it is a complete. Then that's what happened. A couple of weeks ago, actually, it's probably been almost a month ago now. I went underneath the layout because I had built that new drawer system over there. And when I got done with it, before I put it back in place, I realized, well, wait a minute, I just drug all this stuff out, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be up underneath of here. I mean, like I said, it's a basement, so we've got all sorts of neat critters that like to crawl around down here, namely insects. Thankfully, I don't have any issues with anything else, but I've got an insect, the sprickets and the crickets and the spiders. Yeah, all that stuff's down here, and they left a heck of a mess up underneath the layout, and I didn't realize it because I don't go underneath the layout. I'm basically, for the moment, I'm done underneath of there. And when I went ahead and pulled all that stuff out, I'm like, yeah, I need to vacuum underneath of here. Number one. Number two, where the heck did all this come from?
Good night, Anthony.
I had stuff that was given to me and such. Night Opa Dodge, that was given to me, and I had picked up, and I just put it in the containers and stuck it underneath the layout, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Yeah, and that was, like I said, a few weeks or a month back, and I went in and pulled all that stuff out and went, where the heck did that come from? I've got a whole box of people sitting over here that I've got to paint. I've already done a few, but that was during the DPM kit build. But this is a completely different set of figures that I got to paint now. So, but anyway, John 2618. I knew I should have built a shelf layout. See that, Heath? You go ahead and you build something like this, and you can hide all your garbage that you don't want people to see underneath of it. You know what, Randall? That's happened to me too. Well, not so much the rolling stock, because I had all that stuff pulled out. But yeah, the buildings and things of that nature. It was like, wait a minute, where the heck did all this come from? And it was stuff that needed to be repaired and such. And then, of course, the other day, here it is. and of course, John knows it's coming, but I found out that one interlocking tower that I've got actually has Schuylkill Junction on the side of it. I'm like, how fitting is that? I know where I need to send that. So John and I have been talking about that. So he's going to be getting himself a Schuylkill Junction building here shortly, as soon as I get it in a box and I can get it shipped out.
It's kind of surprising to see the name Schuylkill on a kit.
Like I said, I didn't put that one together. I have no idea where it came from, but there it was. That's all right. You want to talk about wild stuff? My wife was telling me earlier today, she started watching, because I don't watch TV, but she started watching, I guess it's something, I think it's on Disney. It might not be on Disney Plus. It might be on one of the other ones. It's a show called The Guild. And it's done back in the early 1800s, or early to mid 1800s, where they're talking New York City, where you've got the old guard upper echelon and the newcomers, the new upper echelon folks. And one of the people that they talk about is a fellow by the name of Russell. His last name is Russell. He's a banker. And he wants to go ahead and build a railroad out to Chicago, and the people that already have a railroad out to Chicago don't want to sell him don't want to sell him theirs. So he's like, I'll just build a line right next to it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds awfully familiar. But the reason why it all came up, though, is the one opening, or the one of the scenes in the first episode. They actually show part of the Strasbourg Railroad. Now, it's a little CGI'd. Because they have Doylestown as a station, but the locomotive and the cars that are behind it are Strasbourg and then Pennsylvania and Reading. And I'm like, I've seen those cars. I'm going to be seeing those cars this weekend. So, but yeah, it was just really neat to see that they were, of all things, that used the Strasbourg Road, because I know that they used some of the railroads out west for some of the other TV shows and movies years ago. I forgot which. There was a couple of them that they talked about. I don't remember which lines they are now, but yeah. But it was really neat to see them actually use a local railroad for a TV movie or TV show, whatever it was. But the only shows I watch were TV's Lego Masters and the railroad shows. The only TV that I watch now is watching YouTube on TV for, something to watch. Dan's model railroading journey. There's also a parking lot. An expressway in Philadelphia called Schuylkill Express. Well, it's kind of like the Great Baltimore parking lot that goes around Baltimore City here. Yeah, it's. Or the one that goes around DC. Of course, I wish they would. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Anyway. Let's see. Happy Value is saying bench work is of a real layout is laid upon the boxes of unbuilt kits. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. What was CP368, I guess, was talking about instead of using Union Pacific footage for trains pulling into Mayberry, North Carolina. I guess that we were talking about another TV show somewhere along the way here. Oh, the only things I don't know is the rail joint. Oh, okay. No, that was something different. All right, never mind. So, anywho, yeah, I hear you, Randall. I hear you. It's funny. My daughter's in that. Well, I've seen a few animes, but my daughter was really into anime at one point in time, which I thought was rather unique. But yeah, she was definitely into it at one point. And of course, here that she got out of it before she was old enough to watch Akira. I don't know how many people in here actually know about Akira, but that was a really screwed up anime. Whew, that was a weird one. Anyway, now that we're completely derailed, so let's see what else we've got in Andy Griffith. Oh, we're going way back. Oh man. Well, John, I think I'm about ready to call it a night here. Like I said, it's been a
All right.
long day. So, has
All right.
anybody
Since
got anything that they want to talk or anything they want to bring up or say how many how many subscribers they've got? Like I said, I know. Of course, we talked about it at the very beginning, but the Strasbourg meet and greet is this weekend coming up. Like I said, I'll be up there. I'm going to head up there Friday morning. I'm hoping to get there before the actual virtual rail fan, where we get up underneath a virtual rail fan and go, "Hey, look at us!" I used to have Legos years and years ago, but yeah, unfortunately, when my parents moved, they got rid of all of it, which kind of made me mad. But it is what it is. Um, it sounds like Joe from the Black Rock Central is going to make his way up there on Saturday. Um, Oh boy, yeah. I think I've heard. I think a buddy of mine had talked about that one a while back. Good night, all. Thanks for the show, Ray. That's PK and W. I wish I was still back east to go to Strasbourg. That's okay. We'll catch up with you at some point, PK and W. Um, let's see. Well, no, that isn't the one I wanted. Adam Cruz is at 81. I haven't worked on videos. I start a new job in a week. Well, congratulations, Adam. Um, who is live streaming from Strasbourg? I don't know if anybody is actually going to live stream from Strasbourg. I do know that like I said, on Friday the 20th, Sparky has got something where we're supposed to meet up under the virtual railfan camera in Strasbourg and I guess near the platform. That's the one that's actually in Strasbourg. Um, so yeah, that one that's the only time. I don't know if anybody else is. Like I said, I know that I wasn't sure what time I was going to get back next weekend. And Jason needed somebody to cover tonight, so it kind of worked out. I was like, "Hey, I'll cover you tonight if you can cover next weekend while I'm up at Strasbourg." So that's what we're doing. Let's see. There was something I just had. I would have a 2 hour and 6 minute drive. I was gonna. I would imagine, Rodney. Are you still headed over, or did things change for you again? Because I know you were talking to me earlier last week that you were talking about coming over. And Wigwag Workshop is at 590 or 956. Here we go, transposing stuff over here. It's all the fumes. I'll blame it on the fumes. Dan's model railroad journey is at 338. Let's see. Excellent signal in Strasbourg. Tom, I gather, are you coming up? Possum Bayou, Rusty is saying, I can't make it. Son graduated from college. There you go. Congratulations. Nice. My daughter did that this time last year. She is now a part of the working society. Randall Ellison is saying he's at 312. Lynn McCurdy is at 105. Joe Rader is at 277. I'm really surprised that you don't have more subs, Joe, considering the fact that all the work you've been doing for Jack Jack. I think Jack Jack's got your number. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that, Tom. We'll get together again. Well, we'll all get together at some point. We'll all get together.
Yes, Dave, BNSF, I'm still awake.
Dan's Model Railroad and Journey says, I'm locked down by my boss, so I'm not doing any gatherings at all. Uh-huh. Roy Eltham saying he hasn't done a video in a while. Life's been busy. Hey, I like I said, I did 2 overnights last week. That was nasty. I've got another one to do this week. Thankfully, that's Tuesday night into Wednesday. Yeah, I like I said, I took off Friday just because of the fact that I was actually going to go up Friday afternoon. But then I was looking at some of the things that Sparky had set up. I had already taken off Friday and Monday, which actually ended up working out. Although when I get back, I've got to work Monday night into Tuesday. Fun. But yeah, I wouldn't say about getting there early. I think he was just trying to get a bunch of us up there and go at that. Container Man's at 1662. Gee. Wow. Oh, that stinks, Santa Fe Bob. You and we're still going to go ahead and there's a couple of folks. I know there's a couple of folks in here that I need to catch up with. You, Rodney, and a few others that I want to have a chat session with. We'll get together at some point. Jeff's at 336. I happen to be at 472. I seem to be stuck there. Edwards at 63. Let's see. Lynn's saying he's got hundreds of pictures and videos from this weekend's train show, but we'll be visiting an older brother, daughter, and 99-year-old. So, wow. Whew. Nice. 20 of my subscribers think that. Oh boy. So anyway. Oh, Adam starts light rail driver training on Monday. Nice. 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 All right. Well, like I said a few minutes ago, I think I'm about ready to call it a night. John, I appreciate your help going ahead and keeping the nuts over there next to you in check. At least as well as you could.
Anytime, man, it was my pleasure.
I mean, we all get out of hand, but it is what it is. I do appreciate you stepping in, sir. And on that note,
Oh, anytime, man.
I appreciate it. And on that note, you all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Hey, and for those that are going to Strasbourg, we'll catch up there. We will see you later. Thanks again, John. Yeah, we'll have a good night.
Good night, all.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that went well.
I can't believe I've actually got a building sitting back here again. Like I said, it'll be interesting what happens when I come down here for the work in the morning to see if it's still in one piece.
Well, it's still standing now, so I think you got a good chance.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah, that could have gone all sorts of sideways, and that actually went pretty good.
Yeah, I thought so. Tim says we're still live.
Did I? Yeah, I hit end broadcast. Go away.